Hello everyone, it is once again time to do our weapon breakdowns for all the different weapons for the new season. This might be the last time we do these, so I'm going to really try to get all my thoughts out on the table. And I don't know which ones are going to start and which ones aren't. As of the time of recording this, we have a few kits confirmed already just from seeing the trailer. But I'll probably try to tackle it closer to the release. The videos actually drop on Twitter. We'll see. I figured the first one I'd actually record, though, is CRB. Because, I mean, come on. I gotta talk about it. This is the breakdown that I thought I'd never actually be able to make. And I kind of don't even know where to start because it's kind of just odd to be here in the first place, I guess. So, why don't we start this off by talking about how good Range Blaster is right now. Now, range as a main weapon is seen as very strong. You know, it has its problems. It doesn't paint very well. It's a little bit slow. It has bad object damage. And, well, we're not talking about the kits, but it doesn't get a lot of its special regardless of the kits. But it has some good trade-offs. Like, obviously the one-shot direct is very strong. Its jump RNG isn't really a big problem with Intensify if you have an actual gear. I'm just going to wear this gear. And, most importantly, the long-range area of effect is very strong. It's just good at fighting a lot of the mid lines right now. Like, people are kind of annoyed at this weapon right now because of how good it is at fighting mid lines, and that's fair. Vanilla Blaster had, like, a lot of the same deal in Splatoon 2. People hated it when it was a bunch of short-range weapons, and it would just dumpster those, and RB does the same thing to all the mid-range weapons in the meta we have right now. So, not really too surprising, honestly. So, I think the long-range area of effect is very strong. It allows you to deal with some stuff just around corners. It allows you to poke out other mid-range weapons. It's very reliable damage, and especially with the maps in the game, you know where people are coming from a lot of the time, so it's very easy to pre-fire and get that damage. Makes it one of the best slayers in the game right now. Its main downsides is really just its kit. I would say the most comparable weapon to RB right now is Slosher. And, you know, Slosher has its own set of strengths and weaknesses. It's a little bit different, but I think what gives Slosher the edge, what allows it to see more use in competitive play, is two things. One is the reliability of the main weapon, because it's just a little bit more flexible. Like, you're not going to have as many situations where you have to clutch out a fight win. You know, this weapon's pretty good at it. But secondly is the kit flexibility. Like, you can play to strikes. If you really need to play to get in, you can play to get strikes, and you can strike your team in. Stuff like that. Is that RB cannot do that. Not only because it paints slower and it's more expensive, but also because it gets a wave breaker. And that's where I think the weapon starts to drop off, is really when you're trying to build the most optimal of comps. RB does not have the special toolkit to fit with that, and that limits what you can play with it and how you build around it as much. CRB doesn't really fix this, at least in a zones environment. Now, if we're talking Rainmaker and maybe a bit of tower control, but especially Rainmaker, and would be the same for Clams if Kraken Cheese wasn't patched, different story. And we'll get to that when we talk about Kraken. But for now, let's talk about the Splat Bomb. I think for me, the Splat Bomb is an upgrade compared to Suction Bomb. Now, Suction Bomb does some things better than Splat Bomb, but most importantly, Splat Bomb gives you a get off me tool. You can roll Splat Bomb at your feet, and it forces people to get away from you. That is always going to be helpful on a weapon with limited up-close options. And yes, it is not Splatoon 1. You only have 2 shots after it, 3 with comeback, which is going to be a big weakness. But it's still there. If you manage your intake well enough, it'll have its use cases. And secondly, just the ability to force movement faster, I think, is better for RB. Like, most of the time, if I'm using a bomb, I'm shooting twice, and then I'm getting out. And I want that process to be fast. And one thing you'll notice with the Suction Bomb is by the time the bomb explodes, all of my bullets have already happened. So it doesn't influence people as fast as I'd want it to be. Splat Bomb makes people move immediately. I get my 2 shots, hopefully secure whatever kill or poke the space I want, and then I'm moving out. Like, it matches the pacing of the weapon a lot better. Now, Wavebreaker is pretty good for RB in some ways that Kraken isn't, just to be fair. Wavebreaker allows you to keep your main weapon, is the main attribute, and of course, you know, the location effect is very nice to play around. This is why I think in, especially modes like Zones where Kraken doesn't have objective power, losing an RB to be a Kraken might be an actual downside in some situations. It's going to be tough to time. That's kind of the main thing. And RB can still kind of clear spaces a bit and deal with sharks a little bit, which is something the CRB kit won't be able to do as well. Though realistically, something else in your team probably will. So I don't think it's the biggest loss. If Wave gets buffed a bit, this could go back to being the better kit. But in my eyes, I think Kraken will be a little bit better. Now, Kraken has a lot of startup, so I don't think it's going to be a panic button. Nice maps. What I think Kraken does provide, outside of fun and skill expression, is I think Kraken provides a bit more of, it allows RB to kind of stay in a bit. Because I think one thing with range is that, because the weapon can get run down, it's hard to get, like, huge streaks if people are rushing you up close. As well as just Wavebreaker can give you your ink tank back, but it doesn't really keep you doing what you're doing as much. With RB, if you, like, get a kill or a double, you can just pop Kraken and just chase the other people around. And it's really simple. Like, you can still mess it up, and, like, maybe you could have gotten the kills with RB instead. But, like, it's really easy to just pop 2 and reliably, like, get 1 or 2, reliably pop Kraken and go chase people around, go and, like, hunt down a crab or whatever. And Kraken is mostly good when you're against specials like Jet and Zip with recalls or Crab that stands still, and you don't fight those as much anymore. But it's still going to be fine. Like, if you need to pop it to run at a Zuka guy and get him to panic his shots, you can do that, and you can burn the Zuka. You can use it to take care of certain threats on the team. You can pop it to, like, move freely through screen, for instance, if you want to really manipulate how the enemy team moves. But Kraken is really hard and really inconsistent. And for zones where it doesn't affect the objective, or clams where dropping your clams negatively impacts the objective, it's going to be something where I think Range Blaster players are going to have to get very good at using the Kraken properly in order to make it work. It is not an entry tool like Bucket has. It's not like you get Kraken and you get to let your team in. It is not a retake tool. It's still going to have the same problems. But it is going to be something that gives you more options as a player. You're going to feel like you have a little bit more agency. You're going to have some more unique playmaking potential, and it'll help you in situations where you want. If the meta shifts to more things that Kraken is good against, I think the kit will get better. And then Tower and Rainmaker, where you can do the objective, especially Rainmaker, is going to be a big buff. And Rainmaker, I think this is where this kit becomes great, which is, like, cool. In Rainmaker, Range Blaster just isn't that great. Kraken gives it a DPS and objective tool. It's just something that Range has never really had for Rainmaker, outside of the same kit in the first game. So Range can finally be like, you know, it's still not the best Rainmaker weapon because it still doesn't have a lot of speed and DPS outside of it. The Rainmaker can break away from you. But I think it's a lot more reasonable of a pick. Range Blaster is a very strong main weapon right now. So strong I could see it getting nerfed with how good it's in solo play. Though I wouldn't be that worried if they do like the same radius nerf they did with Blaster and Rapid. It seems very solid right now, and I am very hopeful that CRB will be fun. Is it a major step up from the first kit? No, but that's never really something I wanted, nor something I think the weapon needs. If anything, I think a kit that's more broken could have led to Range getting over-nerfed. So I'm happy with one that gives more skill expression, that is going to keep the game more fun for me for a long time. Because my biggest complaint for me playing the game right now is Range's kit is just boring. I'm tired of it. I've played it for a long time. I've just, Wave is something I got, you know, tired of, and I still don't mind using it. I still like the design of the special, but I wanted to have something that's a little bit more creative and fun, and I have that with a lot of my other weapons I don't play as much, like Rapid and S-Blast here, with their more creative kits, and I desperately wanted Range to have something more fun. So, you know, for me, this is very much a personal preference, what I enjoy out of the game, what I want, and I'm happy to get it. So, yeah, CRB is here. I don't think people need to be worried about it making Range broken, and I think it's going to be a really fun kit that expands on what you can do with the weapon. So, I'm happy for it. I will make Range gear. For those curious, it will just be this gear, but with the swim speed replaced with 2 subs of Special Saver. That's the plan. We'll make it when it's time. Alright, thanks for watching.